Don't even think about visiting the museum where this and many other works of art are on display. There's no such place. But with Veterans Day this past week, our Rita Braver has arranged for a special viewing.
Hidden among the monuments and museums in Washington is one collection most visitors never see. It's just you and one assistant art historian who do all of this?
That's right.
It is housed here in this nondescript building in the basement behind locked doors.
I call it the most famous collection nobody's ever heard of. I've had people come here from other museums and their jaws drop.
The works all belong to the United States Army. Scenes from American history, the nation's earliest battles, and combat today. What kinds of art are we talking about here?
This is predominantly soldier art done by soldiers showing everyday life in the Army.
How many pieces are there now?
15,500 plus.
Oh my God. Curator Renee Klisch showed us pictures of soldiers at play and in combat. Portraits of calm and terror. You've got how many artists now?
At least 1,300.
All usually unseen because the Army, unlike all the other services, has no national museum of its own. It lacks the funding. Wow.
Yeah, isn't that fabulous?
So here's a rare look at this Norman Rockwell.
I have to admit that I was not a Norman Rockwell fan until I saw this piece.
Really?
It's a fabulous, fabulous piece.
Renee Klisch believes Rockwell was paid to do this one, but most of the art here was created in the line of duty.
There were civilians and military, but they were sent out by the Army.
It started in World War I with 8 artists. 42 were deployed in the Second World War. But why artists in the age of film?
The method in which the artist paints it or draws it provides a strength that I think, and I'm not denigrating photography by any stretch of the imagination, but the artist can give that extra oomph.
Their mission is described in this directive from World War II. Anything is in order. Try to omit nothing.
This is by Tom Lee,
Oh, wow.
and it's entitled, Marines call it that 2,000-yard stare.
Wow. Any idea what's going on in this?
This is right after the Battle of Peleliu in the South Pacific.
Fought over 2 months in 1944, its bleak legacy, the highest casualty rate for the U.S. military of any battle during the war in the Pacific.
60% of the 1st Regiment killed, wounded, or missing.
The Army Division suffered more than 3,000 dead and wounded.
Look at what he's seen. I mean, the eyes are so bloodshot.
Not all the memories here are grim.
One of my favorite pieces is of Bob Hope entertaining the troops in England. It's just the everyday life.
And all uncensored with one exception. So you have quite a lot of work by Howard Brody.
Yes, a number of pieces that he did for Yank magazine.
Artist Howard Brody is widely respected for his World War II sketches. But after the Germans launched their final counter-assault, Brody captured an incident Army brass considered too graphic to be revealed.
My most searing memory of any war was during the Battle of the Bulge, when Germans posing as GIs infiltrated our lines.
This documentary shows GIs executing 3 of those Germans. Censored were both the film and Brody's disturbing sketches. This is such a huge piece. Does it have a name even?
Yes, it is entitled In the Beginning Was the Word.
The United States, it turns out, wasn't the only country with an artist program. Hitler had one of his own, much of it for propaganda. The Army collection includes 456 works of Nazi art, all seized by U.S. troops.
Let me turn on the lights here.
And then,
I feel like I'm entering the inner sanctum here.
inside this locked room,
These 4 little pieces were done by Adolf Hitler and are part of the German War Art collection.
painted when Hitler was a young man, They were also confiscated by American troops.
What do we know about Hitler as an artist?
He wanted to be an artist. I mean, that had been his dream since he was a child, and he applied for art school. He didn't get in.
Why did the United States keep these?
More that they couldn't be an iconic image upon which perhaps neo-Nazis or whatever could focus in on as a rallying point.
The collection includes art from Korea, Vietnam, and the Gulf War. And there have been several artists deployed in Iraq and one just back from Afghanistan. But sometimes the work is done on the soldiers' own time. Lieutenant Heather Engelhardt did these while she was posted in Iraq. A reserve engineering officer, she's now stationed in New Orleans.
I spent part of my time painting and sketching, and the other part doing my normal duties.
Without the usual art supplies, her canvas of choice was tent material.
One of my favorite shows an individual behind a wheel stop of a Humvee. The soldier automatically knowing the positions that they need to take through training. It brings something back to, I guess, the American public that not typically what you would see on the news.
Engelhardt has donated her paintings to the Army collection. But for now, her work, and that of all the other artists, is hidden away, to the regret of curator Renee Klisch.
What's your hope for this collection?
Oh, I want this collection to be known. It is such a premier collection. The art is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Still to come,